Chapter 1, Introduction. Reclaim your inner strength, a path to psychological well-being. Have you ever woken up feeling anxious, with a nagging voice in your head telling you that you're not good enough? Maybe you find yourself constantly criticizing your own actions, doubting your abilities, or feeling like you're never quite measuring up. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of people around the world struggle with the burden of constant self-criticism, and it can have a profound impact on our mental health, our relationships, and our overall happiness. But here's the good news: you have the power to change this. In this book, we're going to embark on a journey to silence that inner critic, to rediscover your inherent worth, and to cultivate a deep sense of self-compassion that will transform your life. You see, our psychological well-being is the foundation upon which we build our lives. When we feel confident, resilient, and at peace with ourselves, we're better able to tackle the challenges that come our way, to pursue our dreams, and to build meaningful connections with others. But when we're constantly bogged down by self-criticism, it can hold us back, erode our self-esteem, and even lead to more serious mental health issues like anxiety and depression. That's why it's so important to prioritize our psychological well-being and to take active steps to address the root causes of self-criticism. In this book, we'll explore the science behind self-criticism, unpack the various forms it can take, and equip you with practical, evidence-based strategies to overcome it. But this isn't just a book about theory, it's a roadmap for real, tangible change. We'll dive into cognitive behavioral techniques to reframe negative thought patterns, mindfulness practices to cultivate self-awareness and self-acceptance, and exercises to build resilience and self-compassion. By the end of this journey, you'll have a toolbox of resources to help you navigate the ups and downs of life with greater ease and confidence. Now, I know what you might be thinking: easier said than done. I've been dealing with this for years, and it feels like a constant battle. I hear you. Overcoming self-criticism isn't a quick fix, and it takes time, practice, and a deep commitment to yourself. But I can assure you that the effort is more than worth it. Imagine waking up each morning feeling energized, excited about the day ahead, and confident in your abilities. Imagine being able to silence that inner critic and replace it with a voice of kindness, understanding, and support. Imagine the positive ripple effects this could have on your relationships, your career, and your overall well-being. That's the vision we're working towards in this book. And while the path may not be easy, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Together, we'll unpack the root causes of your self-criticism, develop a personalized plan of action, and celebrate your victories, no matter how small. So, are you ready to embark on this transformative journey? If so, let's get started. The first step is to let go of any preconceptions or doubts, and to approach this process with an open mind and a willingness to grow. Remember, you have the power within you to create the life you deserve, a life filled with self-acceptance, resilience, and a deep sense of psychological well-being. Let's do this. Chapter 2, Understanding Self-Criticism. What is self-criticism? Self-criticism is when we judge ourselves harshly or negatively. It's like having a mean voice in our head that tells us we're not good enough. This voice can make us feel sad, worried, or angry with ourselves. Self-criticism can show up in many ways. 1. Negative self-talk. This is when we say mean things to ourselves in our mind. For example, I'm so stupid, or I can't do anything right. 2. Comparing ourselves to others. We might always think others are better than us. 3. Perfectionism. We set impossibly high standards for ourselves and get upset when we can't meet them. 4. Fear of failure. We might avoid trying new things because we're afraid of messing up. 5. Difficulty accepting compliments. When someone says something nice about us, we might not believe them. 6. Focusing on mistakes. We might only see the things we do wrong and ignore our successes. It's important to remember that everyone has some self-critical thoughts sometimes. But when these thoughts happen a lot and start to affect our daily life, that's when it becomes a problem. Why do we criticize ourselves? Self-criticism doesn't just appear out of nowhere. There are many reasons why we might develop this habit. 1. childhood experiences. If we grew up with very strict or critical parents, we might learn to be hard on ourselves. 2. School and society. Sometimes, the pressure to get good grades or look a certain way can make us criticize ourselves. 3. Difficult life events. Going through hard times, like losing a job or a relationship ending, can make us doubt ourselves. 4. Perfectionism. If we always try to be perfect, we might be very critical when we make mistakes. 5. Low self-esteem. If we don't feel good about ourselves in general, we might criticize ourselves more. 6. Comparing to others. In today's world of social media, it's easy to compare our lives to others and feel like we're not measuring up. 7. Negative thinking patterns. Sometimes, our brains get into a habit of thinking negatively, and it's hard to break out of it. Understanding where our self-criticism comes from can help us start to change it. It's like finding the root of a weed. Once we know where it comes from, we can work on pulling it out. How self-criticism affects our mental health. When we criticize ourselves all the time, it can really hurt our mental health. Here are some ways it can affect us. 1. Depression. Constant negative thoughts about ourselves can lead to feeling sad and hopeless. 2. Anxiety. Always worrying that we're not good enough can make us feel nervous and scared. 3. Low self-esteem. The more we criticize ourselves, the worse we feel about who we are. 4. Stress. Being hard on ourselves all the time can make us feel stressed and tense. 5. Difficulty in relationships. If we don't like ourselves, it can be hard to believe that others like us too. 6. Procrastination. We might put off doing things because we're afraid of not doing them perfectly. 7. Eating disorders. Sometimes, being very critical of our body can lead to unhealthy eating habits. 8. Substance abuse. Some people might use drugs or alcohol to try to quiet their critical inner voice. 9. Physical health problems. Constant stress from self-criticism can even affect our physical health. It's clear that self-criticism can have a big impact on our lives. But don't worry, there is hope. Understanding self-criticism is the first step to overcoming it. The cycle of self-criticism. Self-criticism often works in a cycle that can be hard to break. 1. We have a negative thought about ourselves. 2. This thought makes us feel bad. 3. Feeling bad might make us act in ways that seem to prove the thought right. 4. This reinforces the negative thought, and the cycle starts again. For example, let's say you think, I'm not good at making friends. This thought might make you feel shy and nervous around people. Because you're nervous, you might not talk much or seem unfriendly. Then, you might not make new friends, which seems to prove your original thought right. Breaking this cycle is key to overcoming self-criticism. The difference between self-criticism and self-improvement. It's important to know the difference between helpful self-reflection and harmful self-criticism. Self-reflection is when we think about our actions and try to learn from them. It's focused on growth and improvement. Self-criticism is when we judge ourselves harshly and focus only on our flaws. It doesn't help us grow, it just makes us feel bad. For example, self-reflection, I didn't do well on that test. What can I learn from this to do better next time? Self-criticism, I failed that test. I'm so stupid. I'll never be good at this. Learning to replace self-criticism with self-reflection can help us grow and improve without hurting our self-esteem. The power of self-compassion. The opposite of self-criticism is self-compassion. This means being kind and understanding towards ourselves, especially when we're going through hard times. Self-compassion has 3 main parts. 1. Self-kindness, being gentle and understanding with ourselves instead of harshly critical. 2. Common humanity, remembering that everyone struggles sometimes, we're not alone. 3. Mindfulness, being aware of our thoughts and feelings without judging them. Research shows that people who practice self-compassion are happier, more resilient, and better able to cope with challenges. Steps towards change. Now that we understand self-criticism better, we can start to change it. Here are some first steps. 1. Notice your self-critical thoughts. Start paying attention to when you criticize yourself. 2. Write it down. Keeping a journal of your self-critical thoughts can help you see patterns. 3. Question your thoughts. Ask yourself if your self-criticism is really true or fair. 4. Practice self-compassion. Try to talk to yourself like you would talk to a good friend. 5. Celebrate your successes. Make a habit of noticing and appreciating the things you do well. Remember, changing the way we think about ourselves takes time and practice. Be patient with yourself as you learn these new skills. Conclusion. Understanding self-criticism is the first big step towards overcoming it. By recognizing what self-criticism is, where it comes from, and how it affects us, we're better equipped to start making positive changes. In the next chapters, we'll explore specific techniques and strategies to help you quiet your inner critic and build a more compassionate relationship with yourself. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Many people struggle with self-criticism, but with understanding and practice, it's possible to break free from its grip and build a more positive, fulfilling life. You've already taken an important step by learning about self-criticism. Be proud of yourself for that. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. You have the power to change your inner dialogue and create a kinder, more supportive relationship with yourself. Let's continue this journey together. Chapter 3: The Science Behind Self-Criticism. In the previous chapter, we explored what self-criticism is and where it comes from. Now, let's dive deeper into the science behind this phenomenon. Understanding the neuroscience, cognitive models, and emotional factors involved can help us better understand and overcome self-criticism. The neuroscience of self-criticism. When we engage in self-criticism, specific areas of the brain become activated. Let's take a closer look at what's happening inside our heads. 1. The prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain responsible for higher-order thinking, decision-making, and self-reflection. During self-criticism, the prefrontal cortex becomes overactive, causing us to ruminate on negative thoughts about ourselves. 2. The amygdala. The amygdala is the brain's alarm system, responsible for processing emotions like fear and anxiety. When we criticize ourselves, the amygdala becomes highly activated, triggering a stress response in the body. 3. The anterior cingulate cortex. This region of the brain is involved in emotional regulation and conflict monitoring. Self-criticism creates a conflict between our negative self-evaluations and our desire to feel good about ourselves, and the anterior cingulate cortex works overtime to try to resolve this internal struggle. 4. The insula. The insula is responsible for processing bodily sensations and emotions. During self-criticism, the insula becomes activated, allowing us to feel the physical and emotional discomfort associated with negative self-talk. These brain regions work together to create the experience of self-criticism. The prefrontal cortex generates the critical thoughts, the amygdala and insula process the emotional and physical responses, and the anterior cingulate cortex tries to manage the internal conflict. Understanding this neuroscientific perspective can help us recognize that self-criticism is not just a mental phenomenon, but a complex interplay of brain activity. This knowledge can empower us to approach self-criticism from a more informed and strategic standpoint. Cognitive models of self-criticism. In addition to the neuroscience, cognitive and behavioral models can also shed light on the mechanisms behind self-criticism. Let's explore a few key models. 1. Cognitive distortions. This model suggests that self-criticism arises from distorted, negative thinking patterns, such as all or nothing thinking, e.g., if I'm not perfect, I'm a failure. Overgeneralization, e.g., I messed up this one thing, so I'm useless. Jumping to conclusions, e.g., they didn't laugh at my joke, so they must think I'm not funny. 2. Self-criticism as a coping mechanism. Some researchers view self-criticism as a way for individuals to cope with their perceived shortcomings. By criticizing themselves, they may believe they can avoid future disappointment or motivate themselves to improve. 3. Self-compassion deficit model. This model suggests that self-criticism arises from a lack of self-compassion. When we can't extend kindness and understanding towards ourselves, we default to harsh self-judgment instead. 4. Perfectionism and self-criticism. Perfectionism, or the tendency to set unrealistically high standards for ourselves, is closely linked to self-criticism. When we inevitably fall short of our perfectionistic goals, we engage in self-criticism as a result. 5. Attachment theory and self-criticism. Our early childhood experiences, particularly our relationships with caregivers, can shape our self-critical tendencies. Individuals who grew up with critical or emotionally unavailable parents may internalize this pattern of self-judgment. Understanding these cognitive models can help us identify the specific thought patterns, coping mechanisms, and underlying beliefs that drive our self-criticism. This awareness is the first step towards challenging and changing these maladaptive thought processes. The role of emotions and stress. Self-criticism doesn't just affect our thoughts, it also has a significant impact on our emotions and physical well-being. Let's explore how emotions and stress are intertwined with self-criticism. 1. Emotions and self-criticism. Self-criticism is closely linked to negative emotions like shame, guilt, and anxiety. When we criticize ourselves, we experience these unpleasant feelings, which can then fuel further self-criticism in a vicious cycle. 2. Stress and self-criticism. Self-criticism is a significant source of stress. The activation of the brain regions involved in self-criticism, coupled with the negative emotions it generates, can trigger the body's stress response. This ongoing stress can lead to a host of physical and mental health issues. 3. The stress response. When we engage in self-criticism, our body releases stress hormones like cortisol. This triggers the fight-or-flight response, which can cause physical symptoms such as increased heart rate, muscle tension, and digestive issues. 4. The impact on well-being. Chronic self-criticism and the resulting stress can have a detrimental impact on our overall well-being. It can lead to problems like anxiety, depression, burnout, and even physical health problems such as weakened immune function and cardiovascular issues. 5. Emotional regulation and self-criticism. Self-criticism can make it challenging to effectively regulate our emotions. When we're caught in a cycle of self-criticism, it becomes harder to calm ourselves down and manage our emotional responses. Understanding the close relationship between self-criticism, emotions, and stress can help us recognize the importance of addressing self-criticism as a holistic issue. By learning to manage our emotions and reduce stress, we can make significant progress in overcoming the negative impacts of self-criticism. Putting it all together. The science behind self-criticism paints a complex picture involving the interplay of neuroscience, cognitive processes, and emotional factors. By understanding this multifaceted nature of self-criticism, we can develop a more comprehensive approach to addressing it. The key takeaways from this chapter are: 1. Self-criticism is rooted in specific brain regions and neural pathways, which can be better understood through neuroscientific research. 2. Cognitive models, such as those related to distorted thinking patterns, coping mechanisms, and attachment styles, provide insights into the underlying thought processes that drive self-criticism. 3. Emotions and stress play a crucial role in perpetuating the cycle of self-criticism, highlighting the importance of addressing both the mental and physical aspects of this challenge. Armed with this knowledge, we can now move forward with more targeted and effective strategies to overcome self-criticism and cultivate a more positive, self-compassionate mindset. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into the practical steps you can take to identify and manage your inner critic. Chapter 4: Identifying Your Inner Critic. In the previous chapters, we've explored the nature of self-criticism and the science behind it. Now, it's time to get personal. The first step in overcoming your inner critic is to understand it better, to recognize its patterns, identify its triggers, and learn how it manifests in your daily life. Recognizing your inner critic. The first step is to become more aware of your inner critic. This might sound simple, but it can be surprisingly challenging, as the critic's voice is often so deeply ingrained in our thought processes that it can feel like a natural part of our inner dialogue. Here are some signs to look out for that might indicate the presence of your inner critic. 1. Negative self-talk. Listen closely to the way you speak to yourself, both in your head and out loud. Are you using harsh, critical language? Do you find yourself saying things like, "I'm so stupid, I can't do anything right," or "I'll never be good enough"? 2. Perfectionism. Do you set impossibly high standards for yourself and then beat yourself up when you inevitably fall short? Perfectionism is a common manifestation of self-criticism. 3. Difficulty accepting compliments. When someone pays you a compliment, do you automatically dismiss it or find a way to minimize your accomplishments? This can be a sign that your inner critic is quick to invalidate any positive feedback. 4. Constant comparison. Do you frequently compare yourself to others, always feeling like you're falling short? This tendency to measure your worth against external standards is often fueled by self-criticism. 5. Avoidance of challenges. Do you find yourself avoiding new experiences or situations where you might make a mistake? This can be a defense mechanism against the onslaught of self-criticism that might follow. 6. Emotional reactivity. When you encounter a setback or disappointment, do you immediately feel an intense wave of negative emotions like shame, anxiety, or anger? This heightened emotional response can indicate the presence of a critical inner voice. As you start to recognize these patterns, it's important to remember that having an inner critic is a common human experience. We all have that little voice in our heads that can be overly critical at times. The key is to learn how to identify it and manage it, rather than letting it control our thoughts and behaviors. Keeping a self-criticism journal. One of the most effective ways to get to know your inner critic is to keep a self-criticism journal. This involves regularly recording your self-critical thoughts and the situations that trigger them. By doing this, you can start to identify patterns and gain a deeper understanding of your own unique brand of self-criticism. Here's how to get started with your self-criticism journal. 1. Choose a format. You can use a physical notebook, a digital document, or even a notes app on your phone. The important thing is to find a method that works for you and that you'll actually use consistently. 2. Record your thoughts. Whenever you notice yourself engaging in self-criticism, take a moment to jot it down. Write down the specific thought or statement, as well as any emotions or physical sensations you experienced. 3. Analyze the context. In addition to the self-critical thought itself, also make note of the situation or trigger that led to it. What were you doing? Who were you with? What was happening around you? 4. Reflect on patterns. As you build up a collection of entries, start looking for patterns and themes. Are there certain times of day or certain types of situations where you're more prone to self-criticism? Are there any recurring thoughts or themes that emerge? 5. Identify triggers. Pay close attention to the contexts and triggers you've identified. What are the common factors that seem to set off your inner critic? Understanding these triggers can help you develop strategies to manage them. 6. Track your progress. Over time, as you work on addressing your self-criticism, continue to journal. This will help you see the positive changes and progress you're making, which can be incredibly motivating. Keeping a self-criticism journal is a powerful tool because it allows you to step back and observe your inner critic objectively, rather than just getting caught up in the moment. By documenting your thoughts and experiences, you can start to uncover the patterns and root causes that drive your self-criticism. Common triggers for self-criticism. As you start to explore your self-criticism journal, you may begin to notice that certain situations or events tend to trigger your inner critic more than others. Understanding these common triggers can help you anticipate and manage your self-critical thoughts more effectively. Some of the most common triggers for self-criticism include: 1. Mistakes or failures. When we make a mistake or fail at something, our inner critic is quick to pounce, reminding us of our perceived inadequacies. 2. Comparing ourselves to others. In today's world of social media, it's easy to constantly compare ourselves to the perceived success and perfection of others. This can be a major trigger for self-criticism. 3. Receiving criticism. Even if the feedback is constructive, our inner critic can amplify it and turn it into a devastating blow to our self-worth. 4. Uncertainty or change. Facing new or unfamiliar situations can make us feel vulnerable, which can activate our inner critic's tendency to doubt our abilities. 5. Stressful situations, high pressure, or emotionally charged moments can heighten our self-critical tendencies as our inner critic tries to motivate us through harsh judgment. 6. Lack of support. If we feel isolated or unsupported, our inner critic may fill the void, reminding us of our perceived flaws and shortcomings. 7. Physical or emotional fatigue. When we're already feeling drained or overwhelmed, our inner critic can have an easier time gaining a foothold in our thoughts. Recognizing these common triggers can help you anticipate when your inner critic is most likely to emerge. This awareness can then allow you to consciously implement strategies to manage your self-criticism rather than being caught off guard and succumbing to its negative influence. Challenging your inner critic. Now that you've identified your inner critic and its patterns, it's time to start challenging its validity and power over your thoughts and feelings. Here are some strategies to help you do this. 1. Question the critic. When you hear that critical voice in your head, pause and ask yourself, is this really true? Is this a fair or accurate assessment of myself? Challenge the specific thoughts and statements your inner critic is making. 2. Seek evidence. Look for factual evidence that contradicts the negative beliefs your inner critic is promoting. What successes or positive qualities have you demonstrated that disprove your critic's claims? 3. Reframe the criticism. Try to rephrase the critical thoughts in a more constructive, self-compassionate way. For example, instead of "I'm such an idiot," try "I made a mistake, but that's okay. I can learn from this experience." 4. Cultivate self-compassion. Imagine how you would comfort and support a close friend who was struggling with similar self-critical thoughts. Then, try to extend that same kindness and understanding to yourself. 5. Practice mindfulness. When you notice your inner critic emerge, take a moment to pause, take a deep breath, and observe the thought without judgment. Remind yourself that the thought is not a fact, but rather a passing mental event. 6. Seek supportive perspectives. Share your self-critical thoughts with a trusted friend or loved one. Chances are, they will offer a more balanced, compassionate perspective that can help counter your inner critic. Remember, challenging your inner critic is a skill that takes time and practice to develop. Be patient with yourself as you work to replace those negative thought patterns with more constructive, self-compassionate ones. Celebrating small wins. As you embark on this journey of self-discovery and self-improvement, it's important to celebrate even the smallest of victories. When you catch yourself engaging in less self-criticism or responding to your inner critic with more kindness, take a moment to acknowledge and appreciate that progress. Celebrating these small wins can have a powerful impact on your overall mindset and motivation. It reinforces the idea that you are capable of change and that your efforts are making a difference. This positive reinforcement can then fuel your continued growth and development, helping you break free from the grip of your inner critic. So, as you work through the strategies and techniques outlined in this chapter, be sure to pause and give yourself a well-deserved pat on the back. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory worth celebrating. Conclusion. Identifying your inner critic is the crucial first step in overcoming self-criticism. By becoming more aware of the patterns, triggers, and manifestations of your inner critic, you can start to challenge its authority and develop more compassionate, constructive ways of relating to yourself. Remember, your inner critic is not an immutable part of your identity, it's a learned behavior that can be unlearned. With consistent practice and a commitment to self-compassion, you can reclaim your power and cultivate a kinder, more supportive inner voice. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into the specific cognitive behavioral techniques you can use to reframe your negative thought patterns and build a more positive, self-affirming mindset. Keep up the good work, and remember to celebrate your progress along the way. Chapter 5, Cognitive Reframing, Changing Your Mindset. You've done a great job identifying your inner critic and understanding its patterns. Now, let's shift gears from simply noticing those critical thoughts to actively changing them. This chapter introduces you to powerful techniques rooted in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, that will help you reframe negative thinking and cultivate a more positive, supportive inner voice. Understanding cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. CBT is a type of therapy that focuses on the connection between our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. It's based on the idea that our thoughts influence how we feel and act. So, if we can change our negative thoughts, we can change our feelings and actions for the better. Let's imagine this scenario. You're about to give a presentation at work. You start thinking, I'm going to mess this up. Everyone will think I'm incompetent. These negative thoughts lead to feelings of anxiety and fear, which might make you stumble over your words or avoid eye contact during the presentation. CBT helps us break this cycle by teaching us how to identify, challenge, and reframe these unhelpful thought patterns. Cognitive distortions, identifying thought traps. Our inner critic loves to use cognitive distortions or thought traps to trick us into believing negative things about ourselves. Here are some common ones. 1. All or nothing thinking, seeing things in black and white, with no middle ground. For example, if I don't get this promotion, I'm a complete failure. 2. Overgeneralization, drawing sweeping conclusions based on one event. For example, I gave a bad presentation, so I'm terrible at public speaking. 3. Mental filtering, focusing only on the negative aspects of a situation and ignoring the positive. For example, my boss praised my work, but he also pointed out one small mistake, so I must be doing a bad job. 4. Discounting the positive, minimizing or dismissing positive qualities or achievements. For example, I got a good grade on that test, but it was probably just an easy test. 5. Jumping to conclusions, assuming the worst without any real evidence. For example, my friend didn't answer my text right away, so they must be mad at me. 6. Emotional reasoning, letting your feelings dictate your thoughts. For example, I feel anxious, so I must be in danger. 7. Should statements, putting pressure on yourself with should and must statements. For example, I should be able to handle everything perfectly. 8. Labeling, assigning negative labels to yourself or others. For example, I'm such a loser or he's such an idiot. By learning to recognize these thought traps, you can start to challenge their validity and replace them with more balanced, realistic thoughts. Practical exercises for reframing negative thoughts. Now that you can identify those pesky thought traps, let's dive into some practical exercises to help you reframe them. 1. Thought record. This exercise helps you examine your negative thoughts more closely and challenge their accuracy. Situation. Write down the situation that triggered the negative thought. Thought. Write down the automatic negative thought you had. Emotions. Describe the emotions you felt. Evidence for. List any evidence that supports the negative thought. Evidence against. List any evidence that contradicts the negative thought. Alternative thought. Come up with a more balanced, realistic thought. New emotions. Notice how your emotions shift when you focus on the alternative thought. 2. Socratic questioning. This technique encourages you to challenge your negative thoughts by asking yourself specific questions. What's the evidence for and against this thought? Is there another way to look at this situation? What's the worst that could happen? Could I handle it? What's the best that could happen? What would I tell a friend who had this thought? 3. Positive self-talk. Our brains are like muscles. The more we exercise them in a certain way, the stronger those neural pathways become. The same goes for positive self-talk. By consciously replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations, you can rewire your brain for greater self-compassion and resilience. Identify negative self-talk. Notice when you're putting yourself down. Challenge the thought, is it really true? What's the evidence against it? Replace it with a positive affirmation. Choose empowering statements that resonate with you. For example, I am capable, I am worthy, I am strong. 4. Visualization and guided imagery. Our brains have a hard time distinguishing between real and imagined experiences. This means that visualizing yourself succeeding or experiencing positive emotions can have a real impact on your thoughts and feelings. Create a vivid image, find a quiet place, close your eyes, and imagine yourself in a situation that typically triggers self-criticism. Visualize success. Picture yourself handling the situation with confidence and ease. Focus on the positive feelings associated with success. Repeat regularly. The more you practice this visualization, the more powerful its effects become. 5. Behavioral experiments. Sometimes, the best way to challenge a negative thought is to test it out in the real world. Identify a negative belief. For example, I'm not good at making new friends. Design an experiment. Choose a small, manageable action that challenges this belief. For example, start a conversation with someone new at a social event. Observe the results. Did the outcome match your negative prediction? What did you learn from the experience? Building a positive self-image. As you actively work on reframing your negative thoughts, you'll naturally start to build a more positive self-image. Here are some additional tips to foster this growth. Focus on your strengths. Make a list of your positive qualities, skills, and accomplishments. Practice gratitude. Regularly remind yourself of the good things in your life. Surround yourself with positivity. Spend time with supportive people who make you feel good about yourself. Celebrate your successes. Don't downplay your achievements. Acknowledge your hard work and celebrate your wins. Practice self-care. Engage in activities that nourish your mind, body, and soul. Fostering self-compassion. Remember, learning to manage your inner critic is not about achieving perfection. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a close friend. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and remember that every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory worth celebrating. Conclusion. Cognitive reframing is a powerful tool for changing your mindset and overcoming self-criticism. By identifying your thought traps, challenging negative thoughts, and replacing them with more balanced, realistic ones, you can create a more positive, supportive inner dialogue. Remember, your thoughts are not facts. You have the power to choose how you think, and in doing so, you can transform your relationship with yourself. In the next chapter, we'll explore the power of mindfulness in managing self-criticism and cultivating a deeper sense of self-acceptance. Keep practicing these techniques, and remember that every step you take towards self-compassion is a step towards a happier, more fulfilling life. Chapter 6: Mindfulness and Self-Criticism. In our journey to overcome self-criticism, we've explored various techniques and strategies. Now, we're going to dive into a powerful tool that can transform your relationship with your thoughts: mindfulness. This chapter will show you how mindfulness can help manage self-criticism and bring more peace and self-acceptance into your life. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and aware of your thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and surrounding environment. It's about observing these experiences without judgment. Think of it as being a friendly, curious observer of your own mind. When we're mindful, we're not trying to change or fix anything. We're simply noticing what's happening right now, just as it is. This might sound simple, but it's a skill that takes practice to develop. The benefits of mindfulness for managing self-criticism. Mindfulness can be incredibly helpful in dealing with self-criticism. Here's how. 1. Create space. Mindfulness helps create a space between you and your thoughts. Instead of getting caught up in self-critical thoughts, you can observe them without getting pulled in. 2. Reduces reactivity. By practicing mindfulness, you can learn to respond to self-criticism with awareness rather than reacting automatically. 3. Increases self-awareness. Mindfulness helps you become more aware of your thought patterns, making it easier to recognize when self-criticism is happening. 4. Promotes self-compassion. Regular mindfulness practice can help foster a kinder, more compassionate attitude towards yourself. 5. Reduces stress. Mindfulness has been shown to reduce stress and anxiety, which can often fuel self-criticism. 6. Improves focus. By training your mind to stay present, mindfulness can help you focus on what's important rather than getting lost in self-critical thoughts. Mindfulness exercises for reducing self-critical thoughts. Let's explore some practical mindfulness exercises that can help you manage self-criticism. 1. Mindful breathing. This simple exercise can help ground you in the present moment and create space from self-critical thoughts. Find a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Bring your attention to your breath. Notice the sensation of breathing in and out. When you notice your mind wandering to self-critical thoughts, gently bring your attention back to your breath. Continue this for 5 to 10 minutes. 2. Body scan. This exercise helps you connect with your body and can be a great way to shift focus away from self-critical thoughts. Lie down in a comfortable position. Start by bringing attention to your toes. Notice any sensations there. Slowly move your attention up through your body, noticing sensations in each part. If you notice self-critical thoughts, acknowledge them and gently return your focus to your body. Continue until you've scanned your whole body. 3. Mindful observation. This exercise helps you practice being present and can be a good distraction from self-criticism. Choose an object in your environment, e.g., a flower, a cloud, a picture. Observe this object for 5 minutes, as if you're seeing it for the first time. Notice its colors, shapes, textures, and any other details. If self-critical thoughts arise, gently bring your attention back to the object. 4. Loving-kindness meditation. This practice helps cultivate self-compassion, which is a powerful antidote to self-criticism. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Bring to mind someone you care about. Silently repeat phrases like, "May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease." Next, direct these phrases towards yourself. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. If self-critical thoughts arise, notice them and gently return to the phrases. 5. Mindful self-compassion break. This quick exercise can be helpful when you notice you're being self-critical. Take a few deep breaths. Place your hand on your heart or another soothing place on your body. Acknowledge that you're having a difficult moment. This is a moment of suffering. Remind yourself that suffering is a part of being human. Suffering is a part of life. Offer yourself kindness. May I be kind to myself in this moment. Integrating mindfulness into daily life. While formal mindfulness practices are valuable, integrating mindfulness into your daily life can have an even bigger impact on managing self-criticism. Here are some ways to do this. 1. Mindful morning routine. Start your day with mindfulness to set a positive tone. When you wake up, take a few mindful breaths before getting out of bed. As you brush your teeth or shower, pay attention to the physical sensations. Eat breakfast mindfully, noticing the tastes, textures, and smells of your food. 2. Mindful commute. Use your daily commute as an opportunity for mindfulness. If you're driving, focus on the sensation of your hands on the steering wheel. If you're walking, pay attention to the feeling of your feet touching the ground. If you're on public transport, practice mindful breathing or observation. 3. Mindful work. Bring mindfulness into your workday. Take short mindful breaks throughout the day. Set a timer to remind you. Practice mindful listening during meetings, giving your full attention to the speaker. Before starting a new task, take a few mindful breaths to center yourself. 4. Mindful eating. Eating mindfully can help you enjoy your food more and be more aware of your body's needs. Before eating, take a moment to appreciate your food. Eat slowly, savoring each bite. Notice the colors, smells, textures, and tastes of your food. 5. Mindful evening routine. End your day with mindfulness to promote relaxation and better sleep. Practice a short meditation or body scan before bed. Reflect on 3 things you're grateful for from your day. As you lie in bed, take a few mindful breaths to help you transition to sleep. Overcoming challenges in mindfulness practice. As you start practicing mindfulness, you might face some challenges. Here are some common ones and how to address them. 1. I don't have time. Start small. Even 5 minutes a day can make a difference. You can also practice mindfulness during everyday activities like brushing your teeth or waiting in line. 2. My mind keeps wandering. This is normal and part of the practice. When you notice your mind has wandered, gently bring it back to your focus. Each time you do this, you're strengthening your mindfulness muscle. 3. I'm not doing it right. There's no right way to practice mindfulness. The goal is simply to notice what's happening in the present moment, without judgment. 4. It's not working. Mindfulness is a skill that takes time to develop. Be patient with yourself and keep practicing. Even if you don't notice immediate effects, changes are happening in your brain. 5. I fall asleep during practice. If this happens often, try practicing at a different time of day when you're more alert. You can also try practicing with your eyes open or in a seated position. Conclusion. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for managing self-criticism. By learning to observe your thoughts without getting caught up in them, you can create space between yourself and your inner critic. This space allows you to respond to self-criticism with awareness and compassion, rather than getting swept away by it. Remember, mindfulness is a practice. It takes time and patience to develop. Be kind to yourself as you explore these techniques. Even a small amount of mindfulness practice can make a big difference in how you relate to self-critical thoughts. In the next chapter, we'll explore the power of self-compassion and how it can complement your mindfulness practice in overcoming self-criticism. Keep up the great work. Every step you take in this journey is a step towards greater self-acceptance and well-being. Chapter 7, Self-Compassion, Embracing Kindness. You've learned how to recognize and manage your inner critic, and you've explored the power of mindfulness to create space and awareness. Now, we're going to dive into a crucial aspect of overcoming self-criticism, self-compassion. This chapter will help you understand the importance of self-compassion and provide practical steps to cultivate it in your life. What is self-compassion? Self-compassion means treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and acceptance, especially when you're struggling or making mistakes. It's about being a good friend to yourself, offering support and encouragement rather than harsh judgment. Think of it this way: if a close friend was going through a tough time, would you be critical and harsh? Or would you be supportive and understanding? Self-compassion is about extending that same kindness and warmth towards yourself. Why is self-compassion important? Self-compassion is essential for overcoming self-criticism because it provides a counterbalance to those harsh, negative thoughts. When you're self-compassionate, you can 1. Reduce stress and anxiety. Self-criticism creates stress and anxiety. Self-compassion helps soothe those feelings and promote a sense of calm. 2. Boost motivation. When you're kind to yourself, you're more likely to feel motivated to work towards your goals. 3. Increase resilience. Self-compassion helps you bounce back from setbacks and challenges rather than dwelling on them. 4. Improve relationships. When you feel good about yourself, you're more likely to treat others with kindness and respect. 5. Enhance overall well-being. Self-compassion promotes a sense of inner peace, satisfaction, and fulfillment. Practical steps to cultivate self-compassion. Here are some practical steps you can take to cultivate self-compassion in your daily life. 1. Recognize your inner critic. The first step is to become aware of your inner critic. When you notice those critical thoughts, acknowledge them and observe them without judgment. 2. Talk to yourself like a friend. Imagine you're talking to a close friend who's going through a tough time. How would you speak to them? Use that same tone of voice and words when you talk to yourself. 3. Practice self-kindness. When you're feeling down, be kind to yourself. Instead of criticizing yourself, try to understand what you're going through and offer yourself comfort and support. 4. Remember you're not alone. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone struggles sometimes. When you're feeling self-critical, remind yourself that you're not alone in this. 5. Offer yourself encouragement. Instead of focusing on your perceived failures, acknowledge your efforts and celebrate your successes. Remind yourself that you're capable and worthy. 6. Practice self-care. Take care of your physical and mental health. Get enough sleep, eat nourishing food, exercise regularly, and engage in activities that make you feel good. 7. Practice self-compassion exercises. There are many self-compassion exercises that you can do. Here are a few examples. The self-compassion break. Take a few deep breaths. Place your hand on your heart and say to yourself, this is a moment of suffering. Suffering is a part of life. May I be kind to myself in this moment. The loving kindness meditation. Focus on repeating phrases of kindness and compassion, first towards others, then towards yourself. The self-compassion letter. Write yourself a letter expressing kindness, understanding, and acceptance. Overcoming barriers to self-compassion. While self-compassion is a powerful tool, there are some common barriers that people face. Here are some of them and how to overcome them. 1. I don't deserve it. This is often a result of past experiences or negative beliefs about yourself. Challenge these beliefs by reminding yourself that everyone deserves compassion, including you. 2. It's weak to be kind to myself. Self-compassion is not weakness, it's strength. It takes courage to be kind to yourself, especially when you're struggling. 3. I should be able to handle things on my own. It's okay to ask for help. Reaching out to others for support shows strength, not weakness. 4. I'm not good enough. This belief is often rooted in self-criticism. Challenge this belief by focusing on your strengths and accomplishments. 5. I'm afraid of being selfish. Self-compassion is not selfishness, it's self-care. Taking care of yourself allows you to be a better friend, partner, and member of your community. Conclusion. Self-compassion is an essential part of overcoming self-criticism. By treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and acceptance, you can create a more positive inner dialogue and build a stronger, more resilient sense of self. Remember, you deserve to be kind to yourself. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity for living a happier, more fulfilling life. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to build resilience and overcome setbacks. Remember, every step you take towards self-compassion is a step towards a more positive, loving relationship with yourself. Chapter 8, Building Resilience, Overcoming Setbacks. Welcome to the chapter on building resilience. In our journey to overcome self-criticism, we've explored many important topics. Now, we'll focus on how to bounce back from life's challenges and setbacks. This skill is crucial for maintaining a positive self-image and managing self-criticism. What is resilience? Resilience is the ability to recover quickly from difficulties. It's like being a rubber band. You can stretch and bend when life puts pressure on you, but you always snap back to your original shape. Resilient people can face life's challenges, learn from them, and become stronger. Why is resilience important? Resilience is crucial for our well-being because 1. It helps us cope with stress and adversity. 2. It allows us to bounce back from failures and disappointments. 3. It reduces the impact of negative events on our mental health. 4. It helps us maintain a positive outlook, even in tough times. 5. It can improve our relationships and overall life satisfaction. Techniques for building emotional resilience. Building resilience is like building a muscle. It takes practice and consistency. Here are some techniques to help you become more resilient. 1. Develop a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that you can improve and grow through effort and learning. People with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities to learn, not as threats. To develop a growth mindset, embrace challenges instead of avoiding them. See effort as a path to mastery, not as something to be avoided. Learn from criticism instead of ignoring it. Find lessons and inspiration in others' success. 2. Practice self-care. Taking care of your physical and mental health is crucial for building resilience. This includes getting enough sleep, 7 to 9 hours per night for most adults. Eating a balanced diet. Exercising regularly. Practicing relaxation techniques like deep breathing or meditation. Engaging in activities you enjoy. 3. Build strong relationships. Having a support network can help you navigate tough times. To build strong relationships, reach out to friends and family regularly. Join clubs or groups with shared interests. Volunteer in your community. Practice active listening and empathy. 4. Set realistic goals. Setting and achieving goals can boost your confidence and resilience. Make sure your goals are smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. 5. Practice problem solving. When faced with a challenge, try this problem-solving approach. 1. Identify the problem. 2. Brainstorm possible solutions. 3. Choose the best solution. 4. Implement the solution. 5. Evaluate the results. 6. Cultivate optimism. Optimism doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means believing that good things can happen and that you have the power to make positive changes. To cultivate optimism, practice gratitude by noting 3 good things each day. Challenge negative thoughts with evidence. Visualize positive outcomes. 7. Learn from setbacks. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, see them as learning opportunities. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this knowledge in the future? What strengths did I show in handling this situation? Case studies, overcoming self-criticism through resilience. Let's look at some real-life examples of people who have used resilience to overcome self-criticism and achieve their goals. Case study 1, Sarah's journey to self-acceptance. Sarah was a 28-year-old teacher who struggled with intense self-criticism. She constantly doubted her abilities and felt she was never good enough. This affected her work and relationships. Sarah decided to work on her resilience. She started by 1. Practicing self-compassion. She learned to talk to herself kindly, like she would to a friend. 2. Setting realistic goals. Instead of aiming for perfection, she focused on continuous improvement. 3. Building a support network. She joined a teacher support group and opened up to close friends about her struggles. Over time, Sarah noticed changes. She became more confident in her teaching abilities. She learned to view mistakes as learning opportunities rather than failures. Her relationships improved as she became more open and less self-critical. Today, Sarah still faces challenges, but she's better equipped to handle them. She sees herself as resilient and capable, rather than flawed and inadequate. Case study 2, Mike's comeback story. Mike was a 35-year-old businessman who lost his job during an economic downturn. He fell into a cycle of self-criticism, blaming himself for the job loss and doubting his skills. To rebuild his resilience, Mike 1. Developed a growth mindset. He saw his job loss as an opportunity to learn and grow, not as a personal failure. 2. Practiced problem solving. He broke down his job search into manageable steps and tackled them one by one. 3. Cultivated optimism. He started each day by listing 3 things he was grateful for. 4. Learned new skills. He took online courses to expand his skill set and increase his employability. It wasn't easy, but Mike's efforts paid off. He not only found a new job, but also started a side business based on his new skills. More importantly, he developed a more resilient mindset. He now views setbacks as temporary and believes in his ability to overcome challenges. Case study 3, Lisa's athletic triumph. Lisa was a 19-year-old athlete who suffered a serious injury. Her self-criticism skyrocketed as she worried she'd never compete again. She felt like a failure and questioned her identity as an athlete. To build her resilience, Lisa 1. Focused on self-care. She followed her rehabilitation plan diligently and prioritized her physical and mental health. 2. Set realistic goals. She broke down her recovery into small, achievable milestones. 3. Sought support. She worked closely with her coaches, teammates, and a sports psychologist. 4. Practiced mindfulness. She used meditation to manage pain and negative thoughts. Lisa's recovery took time, but her resilience paid off. Not only did she return to her sport, but she also became a mentor for other injured athletes. She learned to value herself beyond her athletic achievements and developed a more balanced, resilient approach to life's challenges. Overcoming common obstacles to resilience. Building resilience isn't always easy. Here are some common obstacles and how to overcome them. 1. Fear of failure. Many people avoid challenges because they're afraid of failing. Remember, failure is a natural part of growth. Try to see failures as learning opportunities, not personal flaws. 2. Perfectionism. Striving for perfection can lead to self-criticism and fear of taking risks. Focus on progress, not perfection. Celebrate small wins along the way. 3. Negative self-talk. Our inner critic can undermine our resilience. Practice catching negative self-talk and replacing it with more balanced, compassionate thoughts. 4. Lack of support. Building resilience is easier with support. If you lack support in your immediate circle, consider joining support groups or seeking professional help. 5. Overwhelm. Sometimes life's challenges can feel overwhelming. Break big problems into smaller, manageable steps. Focus on what you can control. Chapter 9. Practical Steps for Daily Improvement. Congratulations on making it this far in our journey to overcome self-criticism. In the previous chapters, we've covered a lot of ground, from understanding the science behind self-criticism to building resilience and cultivating self-compassion. Now, it's time to focus on the practical, day-to-day steps you can take to make lasting changes. Developing healthy habits. Incorporating small, consistent habits into your daily routine can have a significant impact on reducing self-criticism and improving your overall well-being. Here are some examples. 1. Start your day with self-compassion. Begin your day with a self-compassion practice, such as repeating positive affirmations in front of the mirror, writing down 3 things you're grateful for, doing a short meditation or breathing exercise. These activities can help set a kinder, more supportive tone for the rest of your day. 2. Practice mindful breaks. Throughout the day, take short mindful breaks. This could involve taking a few deep breaths, going for a brief walk outside, practicing a mini meditation, doing a quick body scan. These breaks allow you to pause, reset, and reconnect with the present moment. 3. End your day with reflection. Before bed, take some time to reflect on your day. You can write in a journal about your experiences, thoughts, and feelings. List 3 positive things that happened, no matter how small. Identify any self-critical thoughts or moments, and consider how you could have responded differently. This reflection can help you process the day, celebrate your successes, and plan for future growth. 4. Incorporate self-care. Make self-care a priority by incorporating activities that nourish your mind, body, and spirit. This could include taking a relaxing bath, engaging in a hobby you enjoy, spending time in nature, practicing gentle exercise such as yoga or stretching. Remember, self-care is not selfish, it's essential for your overall well-being. 5. Limit negative influences. Be mindful of the media, social media, and people in your life that may contribute to self-criticism. Consider curating your social media feeds to focus on positive, uplifting content. Limiting your exposure to news or entertainment that promotes unrealistic standards. Spending less time with individuals who are consistently critical or judgmental. Protecting your mental and emotional space can go a long way in reducing self-criticism. Journaling for self-improvement. Journaling is a powerful tool for continuous self-improvement. Here are some journaling exercises to try. 1. Self-reflection journal. Use this journal to reflect on your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Consider questions like, what went well today, and why? What challenges did I face, and how did I handle them? What have I learned about myself recently? How can I apply this learning to future situations? 2. Gratitude journal. In this journal, focus on documenting things you're grateful for. This can help shift your mindset towards the positive. 3. Self-compassion journal. Use this journal to practice self-compassion. Write letters to yourself, offering kindness and understanding. 4. Goal-setting journal. Keep track of your goals, both short-term and long-term. Reflect on your progress and adjust your plans as needed. 5. Problem-solving journal. When faced with a challenge, use this journal to work through the problem-solving process step by step. Experiment with different journaling techniques and find the ones that work best for you. The key is to make it a consistent habit. Seeking support. While overcoming self-criticism is ultimately a personal journey, having a support system can make a big difference. Consider these sources of support. 1. Friends and family. Share your experiences and goals with trusted loved ones. They can offer encouragement, advice, and a compassionate ear when you need it. 2. Support groups. Join online or in-person support groups focused on self-improvement, mental health, or overcoming specific challenges. Connecting with others who understand what you're going through can be invaluable. 3. Professionals. Consider working with a therapist, life coach, or counselor who specializes in self-criticism, self-esteem, or related issues. They can provide personalized guidance and support. 4. Online resources. Explore reputable websites, podcasts, and online communities that offer information, tools, and community support for personal growth and well-being. Remember, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Surround yourself with people and resources that empower and uplift you. Celebrating small wins. As you implement these practical steps and continue your journey, it's important to celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Acknowledging your successes, even the tiny ones, can help reinforce the positive changes you're making. Some ways to celebrate your wins. Make a note in your journal or planner. Share your accomplishments with a supportive friend or family member. Treat yourself to something you enjoy, like a healthy snack or a relaxing activity. Reflect on how far you've come and how your efforts are paying off. Celebrating your wins, big or small, can boost your motivation, self-confidence, and resilience. It's a crucial part of the self-improvement journey. Conclusion. Implementing practical, daily habits and rituals is key to making lasting changes in your relationship with self-criticism. By incorporating self-compassion, mindfulness, and self-care into your routine, you're creating a solid foundation for ongoing growth and well-being. Remember, this journey is not about perfection, it's about progress. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your successes, and don't hesitate to reach out for support when you need it. With consistent effort and a compassionate mindset, you can transform the way you think about and relate to yourself. In our final chapter, we'll wrap up our exploration of overcoming self-criticism and provide you with a roadmap for embracing a new, more positive you. Keep up the great work, you're well on your way to a more fulfilling, self-accepting life. Conclusion, embracing a new you. We've come a long way together, haven't we? We've explored the science behind self-criticism, identified the patterns of your inner critic, and learned strategies to challenge those negative thoughts. We've embraced self-compassion, built resilience, and established practical habits for daily improvement. Now, as we reach the end of this journey, it's time to celebrate the new, more positive you that's emerging. A recap of your transformation. Think back to the beginning of this book. You might have been feeling overwhelmed by self-criticism, doubting your abilities, and struggling to find a sense of peace and self-acceptance. You might have felt stuck in a cycle of negative thoughts, unable to break free. But you took a leap of faith, and you embarked on this journey of self-discovery. You learned that you're not alone in this struggle, and that there are effective tools and strategies to overcome self-criticism. You've learned how to recognize your inner critic and its patterns, how to challenge and reframe negative thoughts, the power of mindfulness in creating space from your thoughts, the importance of self-compassion in treating yourself with kindness, how to build resilience and bounce back from setbacks, practical steps for daily improvement, including healthy habits and journaling. You've taken action, you've practiced new skills, and you've made progress. This is something to celebrate. Embracing a new you. The journey to overcoming self-criticism is a continuous one. There will be ups and downs, and there will be times when you'll feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But remember, every step you take, every effort you make, is bringing you closer to a more compassionate and self-accepting version of yourself. This new you is more aware of your thoughts and feelings, more resilient to setbacks and challenges, more confident in your abilities, more accepting of yourself, flaws and all, more capable of building positive relationships, more empowered to live a fulfilling and meaningful life. Continuing the journey. Now that you have these tools and strategies, it's time to integrate them into your everyday life. Continue to practice self-compassion. Challenge negative thoughts. Engage in mindfulness exercises. Set realistic goals and celebrate your progress. Seek support from others when you need it. Don't be afraid to experiment and find what works best for you. What matters most is making a conscious effort to nurture a kinder, more supportive relationship with yourself. Resources for further learning and support. If you're looking for additional resources to support your journey, here are some suggestions. Books and articles. There are countless books and articles on self-compassion, mindfulness, resilience, and other topics related to mental well-being. Online communities. Join online forums and groups where people share their experiences, offer support, and provide resources. Podcasts. Listen to podcasts that offer tips, insights, and inspiration on self-improvement and mental health. Apps. Explore mindfulness apps that offer guided meditations, breathing exercises, and other tools to support your practice. Therapists and coaches. Consider working with a therapist or coach who specializes in self-esteem, self-criticism, or related issues. Remember, you are worthy of love, kindness, and acceptance. You have the power to create a more positive, fulfilling life for yourself. Don't give up on your journey of self-discovery and self-improvement. Continue to embrace the new you, and watch as your life transforms in beautiful and unexpected ways. This is not the end of your journey, but rather the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter filled with self-compassion, resilience, and the unwavering belief that you are capable of anything you set your mind to. Congratulations on taking the first step. You are already well on your way.